Welcome to the Runna Podcast. I'm Ben, head coach.
And I'm Anya, international marathon runner. And we're proud to be the #1 rated running coaching service worldwide.
We'll be having truly insightful conversation with truly inspirational guests, as well as bringing you tips and tricks for runners of all abilities.
Today on the podcast, we spoke to Randi Zuckerberg, entrepreneur, businesswoman, author, mum of 3, and crazy ultramarathon runner. It was a totally inspirational conversation about what a powerhouse woman she is and how much she totally inspires me. She has overcome every hurdle in business, and she spoke to us about how that's helped her overcome some of the mindsets and challenges in her running journey. You're going to love learning all about Randi's journey. Enjoy the episode. Hi, Randi. Thanks for coming on the podcast. How are you?
Great. It's such an honor to be here. I've listened to you both in my car so many times on so many runs, and we all ran the same race yesterday.
Yeah.
Fun.
How are you feeling? We'll go quickly say, how are you feeling after yesterday?
And what was yesterday?
Yesterday was the New York City half marathon. It's one of the biggest half marathons in the world. And I feel a little imposter syndrome sitting here because I think both of you guys could have run the whole course back before I finished after you're done. So I don't know why we're talking about my running journey today, but it's one of the coolest half marathons, I think.
It really is. No, you smashed it, and we will get on to that. But as you just said, let's start at the beginning of your running journey. We'd love to hear what got you into it on day one.
It's such a wild journey because I'm sitting here and I'm just like so deep in the crazy of running. And so it's wild to think that it really only started 2 years ago. I'm like a mom of 3. I'm not an athlete. I never played any sports or anything growing up. And, coming out of COVID, I was just very lonely. I had a toddler, and I joined a gym around the corner from my house called Orange Theory, and they do some running on the treadmill and some weightlifting. And I remember doing the 1 mile timed, and I think I ran it in about 9 minutes, and I was so excited. Like I could run a mile. Slowly but surely, I got my confidence up in that room, and a few of the women were like, we're running a 10K. And I'm like, on roads? Like, I don't know if that's a thing that my knees can do. I don't think I can run 6 miles on roads. And it was this incredible race in Central Park, all women, the Mastercard Mini 10K. It was like thousands of women in tutus and sparkles and glitter. And I just remember feeling so inspired. Like there's thousands of women that are showing up for themselves this way. Maybe I could show up for myself too. And it was a fast slide from there down the deep end that I'm in now.
Because I mean, most people, when I guess they think, oh, let's get into running, they maybe do a couch to 5K, get to 5K, and then have this kind of like healthy side hobby as a strand within their busy, complex life. Yeah. And I feel like in 2 years, you've gone from maybe not having running to finding running, training for this 10K, and doing it now every second week. It seems like you're doing an ultra marathon. Was that ever something that you even dreamed as possible?
Never. I mean, it still even boggles my mind to think. So, since that 10K, which was in June of 2023, so not even 2 years ago, since then I've run 15 marathons, 10 ultra marathons, and I'm about in a few weeks to run a 400-kilometer ultra marathon. So when I think about I'm almost speechless when I think about how incredible the human body is, that you can train something like that in a few years, but also just how powerful it is to just consistently show up for yourself, and just how much every aspect of my life has changed for the better in the last 2 years.
Wow. And I guess you finished that first 10K. Was it then you thought, okay, now I need to run 11K, or did you think signing up for a marathon, or did you go straight to ultramarathon? How did it climb over that 2-year journey?
So I felt a little embarrassed at how much I loved the 10K. So a few weeks later, I just went and secretly showed up at a half marathon by myself. I told nobody. I didn't even tell my husband. I just like got out of bed early in the morning and like went and ran a half marathon. And he, we track each other's location. So he kind of figured out what I was doing. And I crossed the finish line and I immediately had a call from him. And he was like, did you just run an entire half marathon at under 8 minutes a mile? Is that a thing that just happened? And I was like, I think so. I even have a trophy. Like, I don't know what happened. And
So you won.
See, I didn't win. I was like third place. But
Wow.
yeah, I mean, for not barely running a mile. And so then I was like, all right, maybe I'm going to try a secret marathon. I don't know what's wrong with me. Like I feel like everyone else in my life like only runs to post on Strava. And I'm like the one who's cutting my runs off so that people don't see the full crazy. But I showed up the Yonkers Marathon, local marathon, about 30 minutes out of New York City. And I didn't tell anyone again that I was doing it. And at about mile 20, this police on a motorcycle pulled up next to me. And I was like, I'm so sorry. Did I go the wrong way? What happened? And he was like, no, we always pace the leading woman. Like he looked at me like I was a lunatic. Like, how do you not know? And I was like, I'm winning. And I ended up getting passed by someone. I hit the wall hard about a mile later because I had no idea what I was doing. But it was that I think was like the moment I had those two tiny victories, like that smell of success. And even though they were like little tiny races, it was enough to like really make me feel like I was an athlete.
Wow. And I guess like a lot of people with their running, and that's incredible. So like, well done. But I mean, like so many people with their running, they complete a distance and then they want to shave off some time. But I feel like what you've done is you complete the distance and you've been like, oh, I did that. I can go further. Yeah. And like, it seems like that's to no end now with this 400-kilometer run coming up.
It's what, I'm actually feel really lucky. So around that time, I started doing PT pretty regularly. My PT is now one of my closest friends in life and actually has paced me through many races. But he's actually the one who put the idea in my head. He said, I've been doing a lot of research and he's like, it seems that women peak later in life at longer distances than men, and that over a 50-mile distance, women start to outperform men. Because I kept walking into PT and being like, why did I only discover running when I'm in my 40s? Like I missed the boat. I'm over the hill. And he was like, maybe not. He's like, you seem really built for long distance, and I think you still have almost a decade to your peak if you do go for long distance. So he's the one that actually put that idea in my head. And he's like, why don't we run the perimeter of Manhattan just to see how you feel? So it's about 35 miles around. And at mile 27, 28, I got a second wind and got faster. And he's like, I knew it. Like, I knew that this was your journey. And I don't think if he said that, I didn't even know what an ultramarathon was. I think I would have just done more marathon blocks and tried to get faster. I didn't have anyone in my life who was even suggesting that to me.
And it seems like the reference point isn't, like you said, anyone else that you're trying to get faster than. It's simply just pushing yourself to go further and see what you're capable of.
Yeah, I think it's so exciting gosh, how exciting to be a 43-year-old mom of 3 and not have even hit the boundary yet. I think like we put so many limits on ourselves and we tell ourselves so many myths of what we're capable of or not, especially at my age. And like it's every day that I run a longer distance and still haven't hit the boundary is just like so cool.
I think like a through line or the piece that an incredible runner or someone who's incredible at anything needs, particularly in sport, is two things. They need the physical side and they need the mental side. And like, I mean, your smile and your energy is infectious, but I think like the success you've had before you found running, I feel like demonstrates maybe mentally what you're capable of pushing to do. and then you couple that with doing clearly an incredibly strong body that you can keep making stronger, leads to this incredible success. And like with that in mind, would love you to tell us about maybe some of the things you achieved beforehand, being a CEO, writing your own book and everything else. And I wonder, to the psychological side of things, do you think those hard things you've achieved in life are what allows you to couple that mental strength into running?
Such a great question. I think about that all the time, and I think absolutely yes. And I think that is why people peak later in life at longer distances, because you need that kind of the life miles, I call them, of like the experience of doing hard things for decades and knowing that you could survive them. And I like to say all the time, I cannot outrun anyone. Like, I'm sitting with the two of you. You're two of the most incredible runners I know. I'll never outrun you.
I think you would at a 400 kilometer race, or a lot shorter than that as well.
But I can outsuffer anyone. So the longer the distance, the more the cards stack in my favor, because I'm like made of mental steel. And I think, my experience in Silicon Valley, working 100 hours a week at a startup for a decade, the fact that almost nothing that I've done in my career or my life, I didn't go to school for any of it. I was just continuously thrown in the deep end to figure things out, and somehow figured it out every time. I think when you can call on decades of experience like that and just being in really difficult situations and still figuring out how to thrive, running for 10 hours in the woods is downright relaxing compared to a lot of the things that I've done professionally.
I mean, I find that so refreshing, because I think like very much that's the way I think about things as well. Like when the lockdown came or whatever, I remember I'd kind of like go out and I did a 12-hour challenge, and it was just cycle as far as you could.
Yeah.
And I remember viewing it as like this great day off, because like none of my clients could text me because I'd be offline, and like I was like 12 hours of peace.
Yes.
And even like the same sometimes during we come out and do a race like we did yesterday, that half marathon is the moment where we're offline. Like we're offline to the rest of the team, we're offline to any of our amazing ambassadors or to our customers. And I view it as like, oh, that's a long meeting and then a 30-minute meeting stacked together, an hour and a half. Yeah. Like that's easy. And in a way, I guess that's kind of what you're thinking about. It's like one day, and you did that one day over and over again for 10 years, that therefore you can enjoy it one day, especially if it's out in the woods and not in an office.
Absolutely. And I like to, my whole career, I've kind of been a professional sidekick. Like I've always been the one helping the entrepreneur or on boards and advising and investing. And I've always been like the one next to the great entrepreneurs. And when I run, I get to be the main character. And I think it's wonderful in life to have a healthy mix of both. You don't want to be the main character all the time. That's a very lonely journey. But you also don't want to be the sidekick all the time, because then you're not pushing yourself enough and having your own goals. So I feel like running has brought some of that main character energy into my life too.
You mentioned there like advising, being on the board and things. I think that would, lends itself nicely to your connections with Runner.
Yes.
Can you remember the first time you heard about us and what got you on board with our Runner journey?
Yes. So I think I run with a group of, about 50 women, mostly, a lot of moms, a lot of other women in their 40s. And I think we all kind of went on a similar journey at a similar time. And suddenly, I remember one of the women introduced Runna to the group over coffee. And she was like, I found this app and it uses AI and it can help us all get faster. And I was so excited. I think I tried it out for a few days and it was so excited. And for me, I've invested and advised over 100 tech companies. And when something falls so well into an area that I'm personally passionate about and I feel like I can add value, that's like, you like, you can hear the angels. And I remember reaching out and being like, okay, I'm happy to just be a customer, but if you're looking for investors or looking for people to get more involved, I'd love to dive in deeper. And now I'm excited. I guess I've been on the journey for over a year now.
Yeah, I mean, it was extremely surreal to see your email pop up and to know that, first of all, there's a group of people in America that have heard about our little business and like it. And no, it's been fantastic and great for you to invest and then be able to join all our board meetings and help us think ahead to how we can conquer and grow across the American market.
Yes, and I will say that I think almost every single person in our running group PR'd using Runna. So that was, I mean, the product really speaks for itself. And that was just an incredible season of watching all of these women grow in their confidence and able to train that way.
Oh, we'll have to expand our ultra offering to do 400-kilometer trail races, which is something that we haven't quite built
customer
for yet.
Of one.
Well, it's quite interesting. We get a lot of requests for people to run the length of the UK or people to go and do these crazy ultra challenges, and I think
that's actually on my bucket list to do.
Well, hopefully, if you don't decide to do it for maybe like a year or two, then maybe we'll be ready for you.
Perfect. I love it.
But I think we're always at this battle of trying to work out. Kind of, we know what we need to build in the next 10 years, but it's then kind of prioritizing the steps in what order.
Yes.
And we've so far been so prioritizing the kind of the journeys from someone training for their first 5K through to kind of the marathon 50K as the kind of core journeys that we're really expanding within. And I think within that you have people like Anya who are doing their 10th marathon and looking to break crazy times. And then you also have ordinary people looking to be a little bit healthier and do their weekly or their bi-weekly jog around Central Park. And I think making sure that we're a product that serves for everyone in between is, I think, everything that we're trying to do. And I think one interesting data point of that is that the average 5K time of our customers in the app is a lot slower than people would imagine.
Yeah.
And it's 33 minutes. And I think that really excites us because
it's anyone who's doing a 5K distance
exactly
is amazing.
And I think we really want to kind of build this service that can help all runners of all abilities. And I think when you rewind to the people who maybe worked with a coach 2 to 5 years ago, it will have been the diehard people like Anya who can maybe choose to prioritize that as a segment in their life and really invest their time and their money into it.
Totally. It's interesting because you kind of alluded to this before. I feel like I'm very uncoachable almost because so many coaches just prioritize speed and getting faster, and they miss a lot of other reasons why people run.
Yeah.
For me, I would say it's 95% about joy and experiences. I rarely run alone. I love the social aspect of running with other people. And I'm often I'm okay, I could kill myself and get 2 minutes faster at the half marathon, or I could just run for joy and do all of these things, and maybe I'm not gonna reach my potential as a coach thinks, but I can have my own running journey. And so I think that's what's so great about Runna and about I think the new running culture that's emerging is it's starting to really take into account all the reasons that people run.
But I think that's the most important reason for anyone to run.
Yeah.
And I think if you can find a way to do anything in life that is as exciting as running is for you, you'll inherently therefore be able to do it consistently for months and years on end. And by doing anything consistently in that way, it will lead to success. So I think finding whatever it is that drives you and makes a thing enjoyable, and for you that's running, that's what leads to you now being able to do incredible things in such a short amount of time. Whereas, yes, you could have trained harder for the first year, let's say, but if that year had been miserable, you wouldn't be doing it 2 and a bit years later and continuing to succeed. So I think and with that in mind, we're all different, and we've got to kind of work out how best to motivate, inspire and excite you, because you'll have different goals to someone else. And I think whereby we've got to do that across this entire crazy web of very different humans all around the world is the fun challenge. And I think trying to solve that with
it's
tech
so exciting. I hear
really
the
cool.
times that Anya runs, and it makes me tremble with fear. I'm I don't even know how the human body is capable of propelling itself that fast. Your legs look the same shortness as mine. How do they move so quickly?
But that's the good thing about running as well, is that you also probably feel the exact same when you look at the women who are stronger than you.
Oh yeah, how can you possibly do it? Yeah, you were talking about the reason you run for joy and all the achievements that you have and how it brings other parts to your life. Do you wish you'd taken up running earlier, like in your career, or do you think it found you at the right time in COVID?
That's a great question. I think about that all the time. And part of me definitely kicks myself. I'm like, oh, if I had discovered running when I was in my 20s or even my early 30s, like think where I could be now. But then I think maybe I wasn't ready for the journey then. I spent almost my entire 30s pregnant and having children. I think with all those stops and starts, I would have never really committed.
Yeah.
I think I found running at the perfect time where I was like, there's nothing in my way. Like I'm not having any more children. I see a light at the end of the tunnel. Like I can, I'm in a stable point in my career. And I was like, there is nothing blocking me. Mm-hmm. And I think, yes, like I probably have a shorter shelf life in the future, but gosh, I hope I'm still out there running trails and doing things when I'm in my 60s and 70s. So, I still have quite a lot of time left.
Because I think about it like running a tech business, it's exhausting. And so to try and find the time to run and to cycle and to do all the things I like doing is hard because there's so many drains on your time that you only have so much. But at the same time, making that a priority then helps take the stress away from work.
Totally.
Like reflecting back to when you were doing 100-hour weeks for years on end, do you feel like having had running in there would have helped you mentally, or do you think it would have actually potentially been one more thing that would have tipped you over the edge? Or how do you think about like stacking that in around the pressures you had?
I definitely wish that I think there's much more of a focus on wellness now than there was 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. I think 20 years ago, it was like sleep when you're dead was the culture. And it was like that just hustle culture. So I think I would have been like a freak anomaly trying to have a yoga or a running practice. I think now it seems like there's much more of a focus on kind of mental and emotional wellness as an entrepreneur. But it's an interesting thing to think about if I would have been better off for it. I'm sure the answer is definitely yes.
Yeah.
And maybe then if you were to design your tech business that you found tomorrow, like how would you integrate your love of running into that? Or do you think is it possible to continue to excel to the extremes that you are in your running while also thriving in that other sense? Like how would you balance it?
I tend to be a very all-in person. Like I'm like 400% in or I'm nothing. Mm-hmm. And so I'm not sure. I think if I'm in a startup, like I am all in on that startup and that's my big priority. And now, I'm like, oh, I like running. So naturally I'm going to run 400 kilometers. Like I feel like it's hard for me to do anything part way.
That's your whole success, I think. Can you tell us about the Cocodona 250?
Okay, so I'm going to say I'm like 90% excited and then 10% terrified out of my mind and crying a little bit in the shower about it. So it's a 250 miles through the Arizona desert. You start in Phoenix and you end in Flagstaff. You climb more over the course of the race than Mount Everest. And the first 80 miles, you have to go alone. So you cannot have a pacer. You have to go alone, carrying about 4 liters of water on your back and climbing roughly the Mount Everest distance. Starting at mile 80, you can have pacers and you can have your crew. So you can have someone running next to you for the remainder of the distance. But that does mean that I will basically be running for 24 hours through a night in the desert by myself, carrying all that weight. So I signed up a year ago, mostly by FOMO. I was seeing the live stream of the race and I was like, this is so exciting. I'm just going to throw my name in the lottery, and got picked for it. So the last few months have really been about building mileage. I try to run about 80 to 100 miles a week, mostly easy running. Now that it's only a few weeks away, I'm in very specific skills. So I spend a lot of time hiking with a weighted vest. I spend a lot of time, like I set my alarm clock for 2:00 in the morning and get up and run at night, or I run tired, or I'll run a marathon and then force myself to run a half marathon the next day, things like that. So it's like we're getting into the very specific now.
And will you sleep along the way?
It really depends on how ahead of the cutoffs you are. So you get 125 hours is the cutoff, so which is 5 days. Yep. My goal, gosh, I hate putting a goal out there, but I'm going to do it, is to go under 100 hours. So to do it in 4 days. So I have my team is like basically going to be doing math in real time, and depending on where I am in my goal is how much I get to sleep.
Wow. And do you tell your team that if you want to quit, they tell you can't? Or like, have you had that conversation?
Yeah, I was like, the only reason that I don't get to that finish line is if I'm unconscious. Like otherwise, like, there's no world that we don't get to that finish line. I don't think you can go into a race that distance if you have like even an ounce of doubt in your mind about completing.
I was going to say, you obviously signed up to that knowing you have that mental strength, which it must make you've just completed Tokyo as your 5-star finish.
Yeah,
6-star,
5-star, yeah,
6-star finisher. That must seem easy now compared to that.
It's interesting though, because I find the road race, like they're just two totally different sports.
They actually are.
And if I'm going anywhere near that pace of a road race in Cocodona, I'm in big trouble, right? Like I'm headed, mostly I'll actually be power hiking a lot of it, because the difference between, the running and how that puts you into zone 3 or zone 4, but like maybe it's only 2 minutes a mile slower to hike and keep yourself in zone 2 is like so much of a better strategy to last that distance. So a lot of these long ultras is actually hiking and walking, but strategically.
I just couldn't. I can't even imagine. Will your kids see you on the 250 Ultra at all?
So I've told my family that no one is allowed to see me during the course, because I was like, I'm going to be in a bad way. Like, you do not want to, like, I don't want my husband to see me on the course. I don't want my kids, but they will be at the finish line. I have 5 friends who are on my support crew. So 3 men who are going to take turns running with me. See, it takes 3 men to do the job of one woman. Cool. and then 2 friends who are driving an RV along the course too, that for sleep and support. So it's going to be a pretty epic adventure. And all of them will end up, running close to 100 kilometers a piece and not even get credit for it.
That is mental. And how many other crazy people like you will be on the start line?
Okay, so yeah, I have met quite a few other crazies in this journey that you tend to gravitate towards one another. I think there's about 300 runners in the race. So about 10% of the field is elite field, maybe more than that. Courtney Dowalter is going to be on the line, so I'll get to see her blast off for 1 second. She'll probably finish in 2 days. There's so few women though that go these distances. I think it's like 20% of the field is women. So that's something, that's been interesting in my training is you start to realize how much privilege men have when you get to these really ultra. Like I can't really run alone at 2:00 in the morning. A man could set their alarm and get up and go. I have to like meticulously plan out my paths and my running partners and make sure I spend so much of my brain power wondering if I'm safe while I'm training that men don't have to do. And I think that's why you see, 10-20% women at the start line of these races.
And is that one of the factors that motivates you to show up and prove that women can do it?
Absolutely. I mean, I definitely am terrified about running alone at night in the desert. I have a lot of the men that I run with. They're like, "Don't worry, it's not that scary." I was like, I think that's gaslighting for a man to tell a woman that it's like not scary to run alone at night. But okay, but I really want to show more women that we are much more limitless than we think we are. And it doesn't matter if you've been running your whole life or you just picked it up. Like if you have a dream to run 400 kilometers, like I there is nothing special about me. Like, I am not an athlete, and if I can do it, anyone can.
Did you find that when you ran from LA to Las Vegas?
Yeah, like obviously it's
speed
nothing.
project, so cool, so
it's
cool.
nothing compared to what you're about to take on. It was a relay, so it's completely different. But yeah, I did like the 14K leg through like Death Valley and that bit in the desert, and it was petrifying. Like I was getting texts being like, there are. And unfortunately, it was always men, but like there's a really scary like man who's like in the middle of your road that you need to change route, and it was petrifying. And yeah,
I often feel like I was like, I'm trying to take on like the most badass things that a runner can do, and I was so unlucky to be born in like a tiny female body. Like I'm like feel like I'm like constantly I'm like why was I so unlucky to like try to like, because it's already so hard to train for a 400-kilometer race and then to have like that extra. So that's why like a lot of people tell me that I race too much, but if they were me sitting in my shoes, signing up for an organized marathon is a way for me to get 26 miles in that's safe. I don't have to spend a single ounce of my brain like wondering if I'm safe. I get to get my long run in and have support with water and things and not spend a single ounce of energy wondering if I'm going to make it home at the end. So that's why like this year in 2025 already, I've run 8 marathon or longer race distances. I think we're in like the 10th week of the year, but it's not like to be a lunatic. It's like because that's how I have found that it's safe to train.
You're honestly defying like, what it means to be a woman, what it means to be a mum, what it means to be a businesswoman and be able to do it all, which is so inspiring. What of all of your races that you've done is your favorite?
Oh my gosh, I've had so many favorites. Okay, so I'm so excited for you to run the London Marathon because I think that is like hands down one of my favorite races that I've done. It was so joyful for so many reasons. First of all, it came off 6 days after running the most disastrous race of my life, which was the Boston Marathon.
You've shown me a photo from
that, which
that was speaks colour to that.
The first time that we met, I was like, here's a photo of me projectile vomiting at the Boston Marathon. But I wasn't far enough in my journey to be smart yet. And it was like a freak hot day at the Boston Marathon. And I just paid no attention to that and just went out at my regular pace and just died, like actually died, and went down in front of a course photographer vomiting. And that's all my race photos. Like everyone gets these nice race photos. Mine are like literally mid projectile vomit. So anyway.
But you still bought the photos?
Of course.
That's iconic.
I framed it. Like I was like, I'm sorry, if you don't have a photo like that, are you a real runner? So then 6 days later, like I show up at the start line of the London Marathon, and it was just like all joy. I took all the pressure off myself. I had the most joyful run. There was like 4 Beatles cover bands. Half the people are in costumes going for like ridiculous Guinness World. Like you can't not smile, and then you end at Buckingham Palace. And that ended up being like my second best marathon ever that I've ever run. And just it reminded me again just how joyful an experience like that could be. So I'm super excited for you guys to have that experience. And New York City Marathon my hometown marathon will always be just so special.
Well, I remember seeing you the day after. It was the first time we met in person, the day after that London Marathon. And I think we'd almost scheduled it not really thinking much about the London Marathon itself. So both you and Dom, my business partner, had ran the marathon. We scheduled breakfast, I think, at like 8:30, so we could get like an early breakfast in before like the day of work kind of kicks off. And I remember arriving at 8:30, and you're already like charging around the buffet like fresh as anything. Dom kind of texts me, be like, Ben, why have we arranged this? I'm exhausted. And I think that just speaks to your crazy energy. But no, it was a very lovely breakfast.
Best, you gotta have family that keeps it real. So I will say my mom has come with me to every single one of my 6-star marathons, which is so special and adorable. But after Boston, like, and seeing me die, she sat me down before the London Marathon and she's like, I just want to be straight with you. I have a dinner reservation after the marathon that I'm really excited about. So, like, don't ruin it for me. She's like, I need you to run at a pace where, like, you are not going to mess up my dinner reservation tonight and we can still go. Like, no Boston part 2. So she's like, I don't care how slow you have to run. Like, don't screw this up for me.
And she made her dinner, did she?
Yeah, it was this like Michelin star Indian restaurant in London. It was like one of the best meals of our lives. And so the entire time I was running the marathon, I had the fear of God in me. I was like, I cannot ruin Mama Z's dinner reservation tonight.
Is,
like, I need to dial. I need to be smart today.
That is super funny. I guess last question. What would you say is the goal from here? So obviously you have this race coming up, but like, where do you go from there? And is it what you said earlier, which is just to be happy and enjoy running? Or is there some monumental thing you want to complete, or what is the goal?
Yeah, it's, you know, it's interesting. I like to say I have this like inner warrior inside of me, and I've named her. Her name is Brandy. And, you know, Brandy and I, we often have like little conferences, you know, we check, because Brandy is like, you know, she really wants to like go for it. And Randy likes to run for joy. So we kind of have conferences where we try to like make both of us happy. You know, I love adventure, honestly. So I love the idea of doing some of like the big relay things that you're talking about. I also, like, I'm really excited about the idea of maybe like setting my sights on running a fastest known time for something, or taking on like the UK border, or like a major perimeter, or a big, you know, a giant run like that, and trying to like set some kind of a world record of being the first or the fastest woman to do something like that. So I just have to, you know, think it through a little more, but I hopefully that's in the cards.
Oh, well, you have to let us know what you're thinking through, and we can help you with the logistics.
Yeah, amazing.
But no, super cool, super inspiring. We're going to segue over to Steph for our coaching tip of the week.
Today's tip is on patience, a quality that a lot of runners struggle with, but is really valuable for long-term success. When we're feeling strong, it's really tempting to run that bit further, do an extra hard session, but try to stick with your plan, trust the rate of progression, and this will get results in the long term.
Thanks for that, Steph. I'm going to bring us back with our coaching discussion sent in this week. I guess I'll ask Randy, and you both can chip in. How do you differentiate between pushing through discomfort and ignoring warning signs of injury?
Oh, this is such a good one. I'm interested. I have had to grow and learn this the hard way. I think as a runner, people can tell you till you're blue in the face, and you kind of have to learn this one the hard way. And I learned this one the hard way when I pushed through tight hamstring for weeks and weeks, and then tore my hamstring in the middle of a half marathon. Like, I heard a pop and was out for quite a while after that. And ever since then, I feel like I've been much more wise and in tune with my body and thoughtful. But I feel like until you hit a rock bottom moment like that, it's hard to really know where the line is. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I think there's kind of like two types of people. There's like hyper motivated people, and they need a coach to kind of keep them calm and to stop them overdoing it. And then you also have like the under motivated people who need a coach to like push them out the door. And I think like they probably both need a slightly different like answer. Whereas like when you have tired muscles, you can probably keep pushing yourself, keep challenging yourself to some extent. And tired muscles is natural when you're really pushing yourself to run your first marathon or whatever it's going to be. But at the same time, a sharp pain, whether that's like doing away from the muscle, more into the joints, a sharp kind of spiky feeling versus kind of like a dull ache would probably be the symptoms of kind of like things that we should rein back from versus like push through. But it is a very like fine line. And I think also if you have these kind of like tired muscles or a dull ache that persists and isn't just like hard a fatigue after a big long few days of training and something that's persisting, that's probably the case that maybe you're doing more than your body is capable to recover from.
I'm laughing a little bit because like I'm quite literally right now training my body to run through pain. Like this week, I think I'm doing a training camp where I'm running 4 back-to-back marathon distances to like practice waking up in pain and soreness and still finding mileage. So I think it depends like what.
And it depends on your goal.
Yes.
Because I think like you're prepared to also get a lot closer to the line of what your body can handle, because you need to really push it to be able to do this incredible and amazing challenge. Whereas like someone maybe who's training for their first half marathon, it's more about the consistency and avoiding kind of getting to that line because they don't want to push past it. And to do statistically very hard things, you probably have to take somewhat more of a risk as well.
That's right. But no one wants to cross that line. Once you've been on the side of injury, you want to avoid it at all costs.
For sure.
Yeah.
We have a few exciting this or that's for you.
Okay, I love it.
I also couldn't whittle this down to just 3, so we've got a few more than normal.
Okay.
So first one, if you could only run on one, would you rather run on trail or on road forever? And you live in the middle of the city.
It's so hard because I only have access to road, but I'm a hippie trail runner at heart.
Okay, so we're going trails?
We're going trails.
What's your answer, Anya?
Road.
Okay. Would you rather run a marathon every day for a year or an ultra marathon every week for a year?
Marathon every day.
Marathon every day.
Yeah.
Wow.
I ultra marathon every day?
Like, no, ultra marathon every week.
No, I feel like
Okay.
you're not. I feel like you're underselling me.
Oh, I see. I mean, you can still run between the ultra marathons.
Oh, okay. I can add more to the marathon distance.
You can run a marathon. You have to run a marathon every day all year.
Yeah. No, and I'm saying I'd like to run an ultra marathon every day.
Okay,
Yeah,
wow. So
I'm saying your question
okay.
isn't hard enough.
Okay, what about never
The expression in your face right now.
never stop running all year, every minute? No, okay. So we know how
That's
much
a good goal.
Or
Sorry.
just to run non-stop.
Like non-stop for 365 days.
I think there have been like experiments years and years ago about trying to keep people awake, and it it kills people eventually.
Okay.
That I feel like a year of non-stop running would be a mistake.
Okay.
Maybe don't do that.
Okay.
Okay. We know you love to run in very extravagant outfits, especially when you're racing. And for context, yesterday at the half, what did you wear?
Yeah, so I have glitter in my hair right now, like actual glitter. I wore a sequin tutu. I had like big socks that had St. Patty's Day on them. And usually I can be seen in like fun arm sleeves and glitter everywhere. So that's,
Being the main star of your show as you...
Exactly.
Yeah,
I like to say, like, if you can't be the fastest, be the sparkliest.
Nice. Okay. And with that in mind, would you rather do a triathlon dressed as a mermaid or an ultramarathon dressed as a Disney princess?
Oh, I love both of those, but I'm going to go ultramarathon as a Disney princess because there is just something so awesome about being in like a tutu and sparkles and then beasting past men. Like, and just... it just takes their soul just a little bit more to get passed by someone in a tutu. So I'm going ultra marathon Disney princess.
Nice. I love it. Okay. And then on the vein of crazy outfits, would you rather, and I'm sure you've done this, go to a business meeting in running gear or run a race in a business suit?
Oh, I like them both too. But I think business meeting and running gear, I feel like I wore my Boston Marathon jacket for like 3 straight months after doing that marathon. Like, it didn't matter if I was giving a keynote, going to a business meeting, whatever. I was like, you're gonna look at my Boston Marathon jacket every day, no matter the situation. Date night.
Yeah. Nice. Okay, and then this now might be the hardest one.
Okay.
If we could rewind to the start of your life in running and life in business, you can only have running or you can only have a business in tech or like work in the technology industry. Which would you say you'll leave behind?
Oh gosh. Okay, that's a desperately hard question, but I think it is the business in tech that taught me everything that I needed to know, and I think you can be passionate about many things in life and not just running. So I'm going to go with business and tech, as sad and hard as that is to say.
I thought that would be a hard question.
Yeah.
No.
Wow. Anya, do you want to ask our final question that we love to ask everyone?
Yes. Okay, so you're designing your dream race. What is the event?
Ooh.
Where is it? What food and drink is being served at the finish? And who is presenting you with your award?
Oh, this is amazing. Okay. All right. So, I mean, my dream race is probably very long. So there's maybe like 8 people in it. But it's definitely like a culinary adventure. Like one of the things I love about ultra marathons is that like you can literally stop and eat a full quesadilla in the middle of it, or like I drink like 40 cans of Coca-Cola over the course of an ultra, and then I get to a road marathon and I'm like, this is barbaric. Like no one's handing me Oreos. I have to run the entire time straight through. So I feel like it would be, I feel like there would be like culinary moments. I feel like there would be experiential moments, like whether it's like photography stops or like, like be in a creek swimming, or like different like experiential moments in a race. So maybe it's like a new kind of tourism that we're inventing here, where you just like see a new city or a new place like through a really long race with a lot of cool experiences built in.
Wow.
I think that's really cool.
And so it's more of like an adventure from A to B.
Yeah.
Lots of great food along the way.
Yeah.
Seeing a great new place.
Totally. And like, I think, with a little bit of a time goal so that you push yourself, but, I want to leave like feeling like I did something epic.
And you mentioned quesadillas. What's the food that you need to have along the route?
Yeah. So my go-to favorites are peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and quesadillas. I have real low standards, honestly. It could be anything. But I once had a hamburger in the middle of a 100-mile race and I cried with joy. Like I was like, this is the most delicious burger I've ever had. And they were like, it's not actually, it's cold. It's like a bad hamburger. And I was like, it's amazing. I'm so happy. But yeah, I feel like quesadillas are like a trail ultra staple.
And who's awarding you your medal at the finish line?
Well, I will say I did just have a really cool experience in Tokyo where I got my 6-star medal got handed to me by the CEO of New York Roadrunners, who finished the race like a little bit before me. And, that was so special. So it's hard for me to even imagine something that's more special than that. But I would say my children handing me the medal would be like really something that would be very precious to me.
Oh, well, that would be amazing. Well, Randy, it's incredible to learn so much more about your running journey and your incredible life journey that you've been through as well. And I think on behalf of me and Dom at Runner, and also all of our customers, we're so grateful for you being a part of our journey and helping support us to be a better business that helps more and more runners and more women all over the world.
Such a pleasure to be here with both of you.
Today's podcast is powered by Runner. Runner is the #1 rated running coaching service worldwide. And whatever your running goal, whether you're looking to do your first 5K, improve your time over the 10K, or even run a marathon or an ultramarathon, we'll build you the personalized training for you to help you get there and enjoy the process along the way. If you want to download the Runner app, you'll get 2 weeks for free with code podcast25. And if you're already a Runner customer, you can head to the premium offers section where we've got a 15% off discount for you off any of our Runner merchandise.
And if you enjoyed today's episode, please like, share, subscribe. And if you loved it, give us a 5-star rating. And we'll be back next week with another inspiring guest. See you then.